The Wispia forest wakes up calm. Sun shines through the leaves, and the air smells like rain. In a small pond, a frog opens her eyes for the first time. She looks at her reflection and smiles. Everything is new and bright. Dragonflies fly over the pond, and the forest seems to welcome her. The other frogs jump happily among leaves and flowers. She tries, but barely moves. "Why can't I?" she murmurs sadly. She tries again. She jumps, falls, gets wet. Again and again. The dragonflies watch, curious about her effort. A blue dragonfly lands on a nearby leaf. "No one jumps well on the first try," it says kindly. "What matters is to keep trying." "But I've fallen so many times," sighs the frog. "Then you've learned a lot," answers the dragonfly. "Each fall teaches you something new." The frog smiles and nods. "Then I'll keep jumping." And she did, day after day, without giving up, even if she moved only a little. Days passed. Each morning she tried with more strength, until one day she felt she could do it. She jumped with all her might. The jump was big. She reached the center of the pond. Ripples sparkled on the water, and the frog felt happier than ever. She kept jumping, laughing, learning. Sometimes she fell, sometimes she landed well, but it no longer mattered. She had learned to enjoy the attempt. As evening fell, the frog looked at the sky. What mattered wasn't jumping far, she thought, but never giving up and keeping on trying. And that's how today's adventure ends. The forest hides many more exciting stories, waiting to be discovered. Every night, a new story starts to shine in Wispia. One quiet morning in the forest of Wispia, the sky began to fill with gray clouds. A small hedgehog looked up and shivered. A big storm was coming. Frightened, he ran to hide beneath the roots of an old tree. There, among the damp leaves, he found a snail who looked at him calmly and asked, "Why are you so scared?" The hedgehog hesitated for a moment, then confessed that he was afraid of the storm. The snail smiled and said that admitting fear was already an act of courage. He explained that he loved the rain because the forest smelled alive and the leaves sparkled. The hedgehog peeked out and saw the drops falling like pearls on the flowers. The snail encouraged him to step outside. At first he trembled, but then he took a step. He felt the cool water and the soft mud beneath his paws. His fear began to fade. The two played among the raindrops, laughing as the storm passed. And the hedgehog realized that the bravest thing he had done that day wasn't defeating fear, but recognizing it and daring to face it under the rain. And so the adventure came to an end. The forest of Wispia began to shine again, filled with gentle sounds and fresh leaves after the rain. The forest hides many other exciting stories waiting to be discovered. Every night, a new story begins to shine in Wispia. It was a bright morning in the forest of Wispia. The air smelled of fresh leaves, and the songs of birds filled every corner. A magpie flew from branch to branch, grumbling. The sunlight painted the leaves in gold, yet nothing seemed good enough for her. "Always the same," she said, tossing a twig. "I spend all day fixing my nest, and it's never perfect. By tomorrow, it will probably be broken again." She looked up at the sky, frowning. "It's too sunny, and I'm sure it'll rain this afternoon." Who can live with such changing weather? She pecked among the leaves, looking for food. There isn't a single good seed in this whole forest, she complained. The big ones are hard and the small ones have no flavor. At the base of the tree, a little mouse watched her quietly, chewing a seed with calm curiosity. "Why do you complain so much, Magpie?" he asked with a smile. "The day is beautiful. There's sun, shade, and the forest smells wonderful." The little mouse shrugged and offered her a piece of his seed. When you stop complaining and look around, you realize how many things you already have to be grateful for. The magpie fell silent. For the first time that day, she lifted her eyes and looked around the forest. Everything moved slowly, filled with soft sounds and vivid colors. She looked at her nest and noticed how big and cozy it was. She thought about the weather, how the sun warmed her and the rain helped the forest grow. And if she looked closely, there was always food among the branches. The magpie took a deep breath and smiled. For the first time in a long while, she felt calm, and the forest looked more beautiful than ever. And so, the adventure of the day came to an end. The forest hides many more exciting stories waiting to be discovered. Every night, a new story begins to shine in Wispia.